Hey guys, this is Vicky Vegas, and today I have a very special guest for you. Look at this handsome guy over here. He's David Kohlmeier. Actually, he's with Las Vegas Legal Network. You're gonna find out later how much he can help you. In fact, I know him as a problem solver. Let's see if he can solve my problem today. All right, so let's begin. Let's ask David. Hi, David.
How are you? Thanks so much for interviewing me today.
Yes. Anyway, David, can you please tell them about yourself?
Absolutely. So I happen to be, some information some people don't know about me. I'm a retired police officer. I recently served with the Henderson Police Department doing community policing and patrol. And then prior to that, I was actually a New York City police officer for about 4 years. I did work 9/11 as well. And then I came out here after 9/11 to be a police officer out here. And I've always was a cop for, basically 17 years. And recently I retired about 7 years ago, and I got into working with law firms and within the legal community.
So, helping people is in his DNA.
Absolutely.
Isn't that nice? All right. So, tell me about what you have seen in Las Vegas in terms of, let's say, accidents and personal injuries.
So actually, I've been in Vegas now 20 years. I actually came out here when I was
That's a long
26.
time, yeah.
And I just turned 46. I'm getting old. So long story short, over the 20 years, I think things are these economic times are unusual with COVID and everything taking place in general. So I actually think things are becoming a little bit more violent within the community, and also a lot more car accidents, a lot more injuries in general. And my goal, I feel these days as a retired police officer, is to try to help people get justice, because people that get into car accidents or injured or hurt, they want justice, right? It could be where someone goes to jail, or it could be that they get compensated for pain and suffering if they're injured in a car accident. Someone that was DUI, or someone was just negligent driving their vehicle, and then someone gets hurt.
So, no, I'm sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
go ahead.
Because you said something like, if you're in jail. So let's say a tourist comes and for some reason, he lands in jail. How can you help him?
So here's the situation. Some people are very negative. They feel like if someone gets arrested, that let them go to jail. Like they should just do their time, right? In general. On a whole, people make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I'm not perfect myself. No one's perfect. So the bottom line is, if someone gets arrested and they make a mistake, there is a justice system, right? That you can be either released from the justice system, right, from the courts, or you can actually have bail. The people pay a bail bondsman money to basically be released. And then you also can have an attorney that goes to court to fight for you to be released. No matter what, the goal is to get someone home to the family and to make sure that they don't commit that crime again, right? It could be DUI, or it could be a domestic battery. So the goal for me is to prevent recidivism. As a retired police officer, that's my goal. But if someone's in jail, the Las Vegas Legal Network has a network of different attorneys that could help people in general get them home to their family, and also to make sure that they don't have problems in the future, because the goal is to really clean up someone's situation if they've been arrested specifically for a crime. So the Las Vegas Legal Network is available 24/7 to help people that have been arrested or even in an accident, to basically get them the help that they need, whether it's to get out of jail and to have representation for court, or to basically get them justice if they've been injured or in an accident.
Okay, so I hope you don't mind, but for me, I think visually, meaning, let's say the person is already in jail, or got arrested, what is he supposed to do? Should he call your number?
So the first thing, you always want to call a loved one, a family member, say, hey, look, I'm in jail, I need some help.
Okay.
Sometimes family members know a specific attorney, which is fine, or they know someone that is a bail bondsman to get them released. So number one is always to basically call a family member to let them know where they are. Because most family members can get nervous. They may think that there was a car accident, they're injured, they may be in the hospital. So if you've been arrested, call family first. Then next, if you don't have anyone to call, technically you can call Las Vegas Legal Network, which is a toll-free number, which is, we have two numbers, which is
Please.
1-844-LAWYERS, which is toll-free, 1-844-LAWYERS. It's a nationwide number. And then locally, we also have 702-JUSTICE. And 702-JUSTICE is an easy number to remember as well.
Can you remember that? 702 Justice. Okay.
Easy
go.
number there. So the bottom line is, if someone needs help, they can call our numbers. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Wow.
And then we can call family members. We can call a bail bondsman. We can have an attorney that goes to court. And something that most people don't know is in Las Vegas, that there is even court on Saturdays and Sundays. It wasn't always like that. So the other day we had someone at court Sunday at 1:30 in the afternoon, which is unusual. A lot of attorneys won't roll out of bed and go to court Sunday at 1:30, but I work with a network of attorneys that will go to court at Sunday or Saturday And,
That's
and
great.
also to go above and beyond to help people.
Yeah.
Like I said, if we're arrested, people make mistakes. They could be at their lowest point in their time
Yeah.
in their life. Maybe they lost their job, they're going through a divorce, something happened, like a traumatic experience.
Or just having so much fun in Vegas.
It happens. I mean, Vegas is a crazy place, as you know. Things happen all the time. So the bottom line is we make mistakes sometimes, and we need some help to get out. No one deserves to be in prison for life, in general, unless you really do a horrific crime.
Yeah, that's true.
And then everyone deserves the justice system. Everyone has the right to representation. Even myself, I was a police officer for 17 years. When I went to court, there was an attorney, a city attorney, that was by my side every single time I had representation. So if you were arrested, why would you not want to have the best
Yeah.
representation?
Yeah. Everybody has a right, right under the Constitution to have a
Representation.
lawyer or representation.
Absolutely.
Okay? Next. So let's say a person got into a car accident. So that's a personal injury.
Correct.
There are two situations. One, it's your fault. The other is somebody bumped you. What do you do in situations like this?
You know, it's interesting. Recently, I'm doing a whole TikTok series right now. Everyone's on TikTok, jumping around, dancing, and also educating people at the same time. So I actually, I go under the Problem Solver 702 for TikTok, where I'm having these educational videos.
Hold on. Did you hear that? Problem
Solver
Solver
702.
702. Because 702 is the area code
For Las Vegas.
for Las Vegas. So you guys who are international or from out of state, 702 is remember that because that's Las Vegas. So it's Problem Solver 702.
Correct.
Sorry, okay,
Yeah, no, perfect. So the biggest thing really is that you always want to document it by calling the police or taking out your phone and videotaping or taking photos of the other driver if there's an accident. Of course, if you're injured, you want to call 911, have an ambulance come in general. If you're basically injured inside or your body, go to the hospital, which is number one. Take care of yourself. That's number one. Two is then gathering the documentation of the other driver in general, exchanging information. A lot of times police officers, if you call them, they'll come out there, but sometimes you may be further away or the police take a long time to actually get to a location. So you actually have to become the police officer in regards to, getting that documentation and the evidence you need for whether it's the police, if they contact you in the future, or if it's the insurance trying to make a claim, you want to have all the documentation, which is basically like evidence, right? So you want to gather all this stuff in general, and then again, go to a doctor, go get checked out. Now, the one thing I'll share with you, which is kind of very interesting, as a retired police officer, I always feel funny saying this in general, but if you get into a car accident, it's a traumatic experience. You truly don't know if it's your fault or if it's someone else's fault in general. So I always make the recommendation of not stating that you're at fault because you're not fully sure of what took place. So
You're in shock.
you're in shock. You're not sure how maybe the other driver was under the influence and they just swerved into your roadway, but you thought that it was your fault. I would never truly admit any type of guilt. And even if you receive a traffic ticket, like the one we have over here, which we'll talk about, the traffic ticket in general, that when you get one, sad to say, you're going to have to fight that traffic ticket if you have a case. Now, it's a criminal citation, so there's criminal and civil. The civil side is personal injury. The criminal side is a traffic ticket, right? So I would still want somebody that gets into a personal injury, accident or injury to fight the traffic ticket because we want to make sure that it's not that person's fault. Now, if it's truly their fault, then it's their fault and it is what it is. But a lot of times police officers can actually make a little bit of an error or mistake unless there's a camera or a witness that's unbiased that's helping the situation. I've been in a similar situation where someone said it was my fault, which it wasn't. But we didn't have a camera. There was no unbiased witnesses. So do everything possible that you can to gather information together for an insurance claim or for the police. And if you can get the police to the location, you always want to have the police document an accident case.
I have seen several cases where, because I worked in a personal injury firm before, and I have seen several cases where they were given tickets or citations that it was their fault. But when they questioned it, gave it to the lawyers, you know what? It was reversed, and it wasn't their fault.
Absolutely.
So I think you have the right even to question that. So in fact, that's what you're doing, and that's what you said.
Absolutely. And you never know. You're the traffic ticket. Like I said, a lot of times the attorneys can fight it. And what happens if the other person, did make a mistake? Sometimes the officer, they're only human as well, can make a mistake. Sometimes officers won't even write a ticket. I've had a recent case where they didn't write a ticket, they weren't sure who was at fault.
Yes.
And now you have the insurance companies fighting each other to say, hey, my driver's not at fault, your driver's at fault. And it becomes a little bit of an insurance battle. And that's why it's important to find the right lawyer and to have the right representation. And that's why the Las Vegas Legal Network is committed to finding the right lawyer for people depending upon their legal case, specifically accident, injuries, arrest, family law, immigration, whatever the situation is. We don't want to discriminate anybody for any legal matter. We want to find the right lawyer, for the clients to make sure they're properly represented with a skilled and educated attorney in that specific practice of law.
Okay, so you mentioned insurance. I heard, well, before it was said that the insurance company is not your friend. Is that true?
It's true. I mean, the bottom line is they don't want to make a claim. There's a saying that for every dollar that they would pay you, that they can save the dollar that they're saving, right? So if they were going to pay you $10,000 because you had a proper attorney and representation, imagine if you didn't have an attorney, they were able to save $10,000.
Yeah.
And every day there's probably in Las Vegas, there possibly, let's say of maybe 100 or 200 accidents a day in Las Vegas. Think about it, in every city that's taking place. Think about how much money they save if that you don't get an attorney. So some people, there's a negative stigmatization of lawyers. To me, I'm actually like a lawyer advocate. I'm actually pro-lawyer because I believe that they're fighting for you. It is one of the most noble lawyers that are out there for personal injury because you're not even paying them any money up front. You're not paying an hourly fee. They're taking money if they win the case. So it is a very noble profession, because they're doing something where they're not getting payment. Think about it. What in society where we don't have to pay for something?
That's true.
Right? We go to the supermarket, we pay for something. We go get gas, we pay for something. You want to buy anything in society except a personal injury attorney. So sometimes they get a negative connotation in regards to being a lawyer or a shark. They are really fighting for you, and they're really fighting for justice, especially if you've been injured. Imagine if you lost an arm or a leg or a body part or someone passed away. They are fighting for you and your family to get you compensation for pain and suffering. And that's why I'm so much a advocate for attorneys. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I was a police officer for 17 years. Mm-hmm. Some people are anti-lawyers, and I am pro-lawyers because I know that they are fighting to help the little guy. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like David and Goliath, right? And Goliath is the insurance company, and David is the average person walking the street that gets injured or gets hurt that needs help. Mm-hmm. And we need someone to help fight Goliath. Otherwise, you're going to wind up losing without having some extra backup to fight, the big insurance companies that have tons of money, tons of time in general. So it's very, very important to have a lawyer to represent you with any type of case.
Okay. So guys, let's say he's talking very fast and you didn't catch his company or who he's representing. So it's Las Vegas Legal Network. So LVLN. And that's lvln.com if you want to look at their website, www.lvln.
It's actually .Vegas because it's
.Vegas.
lvln.Vegas. Oh. And actually recently we're able to get Las Vegas Legal Network.com is actually now set up as well. So Las Vegas Legal Network.com and lvln.Vegas, a little bit of abbreviation. And we actually take you to a progressive web app, which has all the contact information. I'm from New York originally, so we speak fast in general.
Fine. So it's because I'm Asian, and sometimes they speak so fast, So that's why I wanted to clarify that, because this one is like an international thing. It's for tourists. Mm-hmm. Like if you don't know anyone here, you don't speak the language, just go to him and they'll find you someone who speaks Korean or someone who speaks Chinese and all that stuff, because they're there to help you. That's why I wanted to repeat it. So
absolutely.
www.lvln.Vegas.
Correct.
Or the other one is?
Or Las Vegas Legal Network.com.
Perfect.
And the toll-free number again is 1-844-LAWYERS, which is nationwide. And we do have attorneys that speak all different languages. Mm-hmm. We have several that speak, I believe it's Korean and Chinese and Japanese as well. Mm-hmm. So for anyone that comes from abroad, that if it needs help and you're in Las Vegas and you get into an accident or injured, or even if you just need some help, I'm more than happy to help and share information. Las Vegas is just a great city, as you know. Yeah. We have such amazing people in town to help people. And as long as you know the right people like us,
Yeah.
right, you're going to get
Yes.
the right people that we're going to refer you to make sure that you're properly taken care of.
Yes. So when you say Las Vegas legal network, that means it's not only for personal injury or accidents. What else can you help them with? Like business consultations? They want to set up a business here in Las Vegas or Nevada?
Correct. So we have attorneys that do practice business law and contracts, immigration if they're trying to come over here with a certain visa. I know there's certain programs and things are always changing. So in regards to immigration and business, if that's a big deal, then we have some attorneys that do that as well. Family law, like we said, personal injury, even international law, we have some attorneys that help as well. So whatever the situation is, we have attorneys in the network, which basically is just a group of attorneys that are helping people in different ways, depending upon what the legal needs is of the client.
So guys, take a good look at David because you might need him. You never know. Maybe I hope not, but still, yes, if you need anything regarding legal matters, can you divorce here? You can do divorce, right?
Yep.
You have lawyers for divorce. Divorce, business, personal injury, slip and fall. Usually accidents in hotels.
Hotels, casinos, correct.
Yeah, slip and fall, or maybe employment.
Employment law as well.
Yeah, employment. So they have everything. And if you need them, let's say immediately when you land in jail or before you land in jail, you can call their number. He said it's 1-800.
It's actually 1-844-lawyers.
I'm horrible with numbers.
And of course, we don't want anyone to go to jail or arrested.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone to get injured as well. But God forbid that you need us. Las Vegas Legal Network at 1-844-lawyers is available to help at any time whatsoever. And you mentioned Vicky Vegas, and make sure we get you VIP treatment in general.
Thank you.
And even if you need transportation in town, we work with local limousine and transportation companies to transport people from wherever they are to this specific lawyer as well. So we try to be legendary in regards to taking care of someone in regards to customer service and taking care of people, especially when it's a traumatic situation. And the one last thing I want to share with you is that we work with several other retired police officers that are helping that can go out to a location. It's what we call accident mobile response. So if you want someone that's a retired police officer from the Las Vegas Legal Network to go out to a location, we are doing a new service. We're providing it to go out to help gather the evidence and documentation to make sure that you are properly ready to fight the insurance company. So we have retired police officers that work in Las Vegas and Henderson and North Las Vegas that will go out specifically if you're calling them to come out. And that's just to help them a few extra steps to basically protect them and their specific situation, because we've seen a lot of things in general that have gone wrong, and we want to help the people in the community. So it's one of the services that we're basically providing.
I know it's very important because when I advise people, I tell them you're in shock, but you have to start taking pictures. And sometimes you don't even know what pictures to take. Take even pictures of the street. Okay, because of the tire marks and all that stuff where everybody's parked, how you were parked. So just try to help your case by having good information through photographs. So I want to remind you about that. And then if, let's say, there are more than two people, one person or two people in the car, is there any tip that you want to give them about it?
I mean, I think a lot of people, if they get into a car accident, they don't know if they're hurt. And sometimes it takes a day or two to actually feel whether it's muscular contusions or if they feel their back. It can take up to 2 weeks as well. So my feeling is that everybody should go see a doctor after they get injured because they're not sure. And I think that with documentation is important, because when you need to make an insurance claim, if you do, sometimes you don't need to, but if you do, at least that you show that you've gone to the doctor, that you've documented the situation. And then if you want to make a claim, like I said, not everybody needs to make a claim, but if they are injured, if they're not feeling well, then you've provided the proper documentation and you followed the necessary steps to go to a medical doctor or a physician in order to show that you've got checked out to make sure that you're okay. And if you're not okay, then they'll say, okay, maybe you need to go to a chiropractor, maybe you need to go to a physical therapist, maybe you just need some relaxation in regards to a massage, or who knows what it is. But the bottom line is, let's get the proper representation and the proper guidance from a physician and a licensed attorney in the Las Vegas Legal Network to make sure that you're doing it correctly, because most people are not doing it correctly, and that's where they're not getting justice. And as a retired police officer, my goal is, and I've said it several times, is to get people justice and to help them through the justice system, because it is a complex system. Whether myself as a retired police officer or the lawyers in the network are the ones that are going to help them get through the justice system. Again, whether arrested or accident or injured, or whether any legal problem they have, let's make sure you do it properly and finding the right lawyer.
Yeah. So another tip I'm going to give you is do it promptly. Because some people, they call me after 7 days. What am I going to do? And what am I going to do? My back hurts and all that. I said, why didn't you do it the day it happened? So it's important. And if you don't know what to do, call them. Okay? Las Vegas Legal Network. So call them. Like I said, it's going to be strange, like in court. Why did you just go to a doctor after 7 days, after 2 weeks? It's really strange. And another thing, if you're, let's say, 2, 3, 4 people in the car, you must get all the information of the people in your car who were in that accident. So that'll be important later on. So things to remember. Do it promptly, and then if you don't know what to do, or even if you do know what to do, still call them, because it's different if a lawyer represents you. Okay? All right. So next, aside from these things, what else do you do, Mr. Problem Solver?
So, and by the way, so I'm known as the problem solver local in Las Vegas.
That's
the
true.
reason why is actually, to make a real quick story, is that when I was a police officer in Henderson, a lot of times I would speak a little bit more to people in order to resolve their problem. Sometimes other fellow officers would say, what are you doing? And I would say, I'm trying to help them, I'm trying to solve their problem. And it was kind of a joke that I'm trying to solve everyone's problem. So that's where the problem solver comes into play. But my goal is that if I was a police officer in uniform and I'm showing up and no one needed to get arrested, or I don't have to take a report, but there was a problem, why not solve the problem today so I don't have to come back tomorrow or the next day or the next week? So that's how I was known as the problem solver. So today, that still carries forward, but in a suit and tie or a t-shirt and jeans. In regards to traffic tickets, which I know we got a traffic ticket here.
That's my traffic ticket. Imagine that. Now I need David.
So Vicky Vegas has been driving around town recklessly. She's very bad.
God.
No, I'm joking.
Naughty.
So the bottom line is we need to be careful. Now, if you're in a different city, like if you're coming here from another country, you don't know exactly maybe some of the signs. I know myself when I go to another country, maybe I don't understand what the sign even says. It's in a different language. So you have to be careful driving in general. But if you get a local traffic ticket like one of these, one of the jokes is that it's a love note from the police officer. But this one is not a love note. And this is just a ticket that someone has to show up to court. It says May 3rd at 8 o'clock in the morning here. And if they didn't show up to court, then you could have a warrant for your arrest. Because in this state, it's considered a misdemeanor that if you don't show up to court, you can have a warrant. So it's very, very important, even if you're going from another country, that you need to handle this before you leave. If you're going back to another country, because if you ever come back and you go to the airport and you have a warrant because you never showed up to court, you could be arrested at the airport.
Wow. Remember that. Okay.
So if you want, the Las Vegas Legal Network has several traffic ticket attorneys. One of the things that we do for the local community, which we're going to do anybody from Vicky Vegas, is that we do have an attorney that does traffic ticket representation for free, which means they will go to court on this date of, let's just say, May 3rd, or whatever the court date would be. They'll go to fight it and negotiate it. And the goal is to get it to, most likely, something they call illegal parking, which there's no points and your insurance does not go up. And there may be a small fine, or maybe the case can be totally dismissed. But the attorney is knowledgeable and will go to court and try to negotiate the traffic ticket to the best possible negotiation. And that could be a dismissal, or it could be illegal parking. In this situation, it's just a very small traffic infraction of speed, basic speed between 1 to 10 miles over the limit. So from there, which is much better than if you were 11 miles over to 20 or 21 over 30. So this is very, very small amount. The fine for you to be guilty, if you were going to say, hey, I'm guilty, would be $195. But the attorney's going to go to court and try to make it maybe $50. And also, if you were to plead guilty for this particular ticket, you would actually have points on your license from the DMV. Now, it may work differently if you're here from internationally. You may have an international driver's license, but you don't want to have a problem with the government You don't want to have any issues, especially if you ever want to apply to be a citizen. You don't want any issues. So with a ticket like this, the Las Vegas Legal Network has an attorney that will go to court on this particular day where Vicky would not have to go to court. The attorney would go to court and negotiate it, and then would let Vicky know what the outcome is. And maybe there's a small fine with no points of insurance. And then she may pay the small fine and the case will be closed out. So be careful driving in Las Vegas, especially if you've never been here before, if you don't know the speed limits, or sometimes you're driving through certain areas that look like you can go quicker, but really the speed limit is much less. And they do have a lot of traffic officers that are on motorcycles, and they are hiding, and they're hiding to give people tickets. But the real reason why most people don't know why police officers are out there giving tickets is they're trying to slow people down.
Yes.
Because the number one way of people getting injured or actually dying in Las Vegas is through speeding and traffic accidents. So the goal is, by getting a ticket, it's supposed to change people's behavior while driving to prevent people from slowing down. And then when they see the officer with the lights and sirens on, it's actually preventing other drivers to slow down because they see the police officers are out there. And the goal is to prevent accidents and death from taking place on the public roadways of Las Vegas, Henderson, and North Las Vegas, which is the two other suburb cities that are locally by Las Vegas.
So yeah, so he's gonna help me with my traffic ticket. Now the thing is,
It's like an award for Vicky.
I know.
It's like a
Oh my
diploma.
gosh! So this is the thing. I'm looking at my clock here. We were talking for 26 minutes because the topic is very, very interesting and it applies to everyone. So how about I give you a part 2? All right, so this will be the part 1, and then next time I will interview David again, and I'm going to report to you what happened to my traffic ticket.
I also have a weekly show, which is now on Channel 14, locally 6 p.m. Tuesdays, Channel 14 on Cox Cable, which is the local TV station. And the Problem Solver talks about community problems and how we solve those problems as the problem solver. So anybody that wants to watch Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Channel 14, or you can go to yourview.com, which is yurview.com, to watch it if you are on a website. It's yurview.com, and it's Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Like I said, thank you so much, Vicky, for having me basically speak. And I love to help anyone that mentions Vicky Vegas as a VIP client as well, for any type of legal need or for any problem locally in Vegas. And if I can help anywhere in the U.S. or even internationally, since I have a lot of other people out there, I would love to help anyone I can.
Yes. So guys, I hope you enjoy this, and then give us your comments and maybe questions that we can ask David next time. So remember, Vicky Vegas, and this is David for Las Vegas Legal Network, LVLN.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys
The
having me out there.
problem solver. All right. Love you guys.